Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are talking about Trump's relationship with other countries. A significant topic of Trump's official mission was his view that the US had for some time been dealt with unjustifiably or exploited by different nations, including by some conventional US partners, and that under Obama's authority, the US had failed to be regarded in world issues. In various talks, tweets, and meetings, he took steps to force duties on nations that participated in what he considered out-of-line exchange rehearses, brutally condemned the World Exchange Association (WTO), and vowed to rework NAFTA, the North American International Alliance, which he called the most terrible economic agreement the U.S. had at any point marked. He likewise reprimanded NATO, the North Atlantic Arrangement Association, excusing the union as old, yet in addition, demanding that other NATO nations give a greater amount of their financial plans to guard spending. In January 2017, he pulled out the U.S. from the Transoceanic Organization, a local economic deal between 12 Pacific Edge nations that had been a significant international strategy accomplishment of the Obama organization. Trump's activity was to a great extent representative, nonetheless, because Congress had never confirmed the deal. In January, in WOC 2018, the Trump Organization reported steep taxes on imports of sunlight-based chargers, worth $8.5 billion every year, and clothes washers, worth $1 billion, pointed especially at China and South Korea, and on imports of aluminum and steel, worth $48 billion, made in a few nations, the greater part of the U.S. partners, starting exceptions from the aluminum and steel obligations allowed to Canada. The European Association (EU) and Mexico were lifted in June, excusing admonitions and reactions from financial experts and business pioneers that the taxes could light an exchange war. Trump demanded in a tweet that exchange wars are great and simple to win. In April, China forced retaliatory duties on an assortment of U.S. merchandise worth $2.4 billion yearly, roughly the dollar measure of Chinese aluminum and steel imports impacted by the Trump duties. The EU followed accordingly in June, with duties on U.S. imports esteemed at $3.2 billion, as did Canada in July with duties on $12.8 billion of U.S. merchandise. Trump's levies and his unfriendliness to the WTO eclipsed the gathering toward the beginning of June of the Gathering of Seven in Quebec, Canada, which was set apart by tense conflict among Trump and other G7 pioneers over language in regards to streamline commerce in the gathering's last report, generally a boring custom. Following Trump's initial takeoff from the gathering, Canadian top state leader Justin Trudeau emphasized his country's hesitant assurance to answer in kind to best levies on aluminum and steel, responding to Trudeau's comments from a trip to Singapore on board Flying Corps. 1. Trump pulled out his support of the dispatch and referred to Trudeau as exploitative and feeble. In Singapore, Trump held a memorable gathering with North Korean pioneer KimJongUn, the principal eye-to-eye experience between sitting heads of the two nations. Although Trump proclaimed after the gathering that there could be, as of now, not an atomic danger from North Korea, it hazy substantial responsibilities North Korea had made to atomic demobilization. In July, Trump went to the yearly culmination meeting of NATO in Brussels, where in a discourse he referred to other NATO nations as delinquent and demanded that they increment their protection spending right away. The gathering finished with a joint report where part nations consented to proceed with their endeavors to dedicate 2% of their gross domestic product to guard spending by 2024, an objective they had consented to in 2014. Trump's relationship with other big nations and leaders such as Putin and Russia, Kim Jong-un and North Korea, etc. It's for some time been Russian President Vladimir Putin's desire to transform his nation back into a conciliatory force to be reckoned with on the world stage, and particularly to take advantage of U.S. shortcomings in any way he can. With U.S. President Donald Trump staggering in his North Korea talks, Putin will get his next opportunity in the not-so-distant future, when he is supposed to meet North Korean pioneer Kim Jong-un. Interestingly, the gathering between the Russian and North Korean pioneers presents a new and confusing improvement for Trump's high-stakes strategy with Kim, following a breakdown of talks between the two chiefs at a culmination in February. The Kremlin on Thursday declared Putin and Kim would meet in the last part of April. The subtleties aren't affirmed, however. The gathering is supposedly expected to occur in the far eastern city of Vladivostok, close to the Russian-North Korean boundary, in front of Putin's visit to China on April 26 and 27. Russia assumed a key part in the six-party talks in 2003. One more major strategic push to destroy North Korea's atomic program in joint discussions between North Korea and the US, China, South Korea, Japan, and Russia. Those endeavors at last bombed. Kim's dad and ancestor, KimJongUn, met then-Russian President Dmitry Medvedev in Siberia in 2011 in the last culmination between a North Korean and Russian pioneer. Russian unfamiliar pastor Sergei Lavrov met Kim last May in Pyongyang in front of Trump and Kim's most memorable culmination. From that point forward, lower-level Russian and North Korean authorities have visited each other as a feature of an increase in conciliatory commitment between the two nations. Foreign policy. President Trump re-established American power at home and American authority abroad, collaborating significant areas of strength with dependable countries to advance security, thriving, and harmony. Rather than sending American soldiers to battle in vast conflicts or giving money to psychological oppressors in nations like Iran, the U.S. under President Trump utilized striking, imaginative tact to get harmony and manage our partners across the world. With the equivalent harmony through strength international strategy that President Reagan once used to win the virus war, President Trump modified American prevention ability to consider our foes responsible. Maybe most significant, the Trump Organization turned around Washington's long-term, bipartisan refusal to face China over its uncalled-for exchange rehearses and protected innovation burglary, and that's just the beginning. 1. International agreement. A foundation of Trump's America First strategy plan was the repeal of two-sided and multilateral arrangements and deals for one-sided game plans directed from country to country. Trump was straightforwardly unfriendly to the European Association, which he viewed as a contender. He regularly took steps to pull out the U.S. from the North Atlantic Settlement Association, NATO, an association framed after the Second Great War to make a shared guard partnership against the Soviet Association. And, after 1991 Russia, contending that giving military protection to Western Europe was excessively costly. In June 2017, Trump declared that the U.S. would pull out from the Paris Consent to battle environmental change. Joe Biden switched that choice right off the bat in his administration. Amidst the coronavirus pandemic, Trump reported that the U.S. would pull out from the World Wellbeing Association, which he blamed for clearing China from obligation regarding the pandemic. Similarly, as with the Paris Accords, the Biden organization promptly rejoined the World Wellbeing Association in January 2021. In May 2018, the Trump Organization reported that the U.S. would pull out from the Joint Extensive Strategy, or the Iran Atomic Arrangement, a 2015 understanding between the U.S., Iran, 5 different nations, and the European Association. The agreement permitted Iran to seek atomic innovation for non-military purposes, under severely unfamiliar management, in return for loosened-up financial authorizations. Trump, alongside numerous conservatives, had long objected to the arrangement, which numerous traditionalists accepted made exorbitant and imprudent concessions to Iran, and gambled with the security of Israel in the occasion Iran broke the understanding and created atomic weapons. In November 2018, the U.S. reimposed all monetary approvals that affected Iran. After getting to work, Joe Biden showed his craving to rejoin the arrangement. Trump likewise applied his one-sided way to deal with international concerns through his activities connected with the Israel-Palestine struggle. In August and September 2020, Trump's child in regulation Jared Kushner facilitated bargains referred to on the whole as the Abraham Accords, by which the state-run administrations of the Unified Bedouin Emirates and Bahrain would standardize discretionary relations with Israel. 2. Trade. President Trump's way of dealing with an exchange in like manner left from late practice. Not long after becoming president, Trump pulled out the U.S. from the proposed Transoceanic Organization, intended to diminish boundaries to exchange between nations along the Pacific Edge. Following through with his mission vow to reconsider the North American International Alliance of 1994, which changed the development of merchandise between Mexico, Canada, and the U.S., Trump agreed in 2018 to supplant the arrangement with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Understanding, USMCA. Albeit the new understanding to a great extent held the structure of the first deal, it refreshed various explicit terms to consider the advances of computerized innovation and online deals. It likewise made new motivators for car creation in the US. Trump additionally satisfied his mission vow to address exchange rivalry with China, whom he blamed for an unjustifiable contest and burglary of protected innovation that brought about the downfall of American modern assembling. Starting in January 2018, Trump forced new levies or import charges on a scope of items from China, including particularly steel and aluminum, driving up the expense of those imports for American purchasers in the expectation of helping deals of American-made items. Accordingly, China forced taxes on items it imported from the US, harming the deals of American exporters. The exchange war heightened through 2019, preceding the Trump Organization and the Public Authority of China arrived at an understanding that facilitated pressures. Trump got acclaim from certain lawmakers for standing up for American producers, yet analysis from others, from inside his party as well as from liberals, for harming worldwide exchange and driving up costs for American buyers. 3. North Korea. Pundits of President Trump saw that, in a quest for his America First approaches. Trump's convoluted relationship with KimJongUn, the preeminent head of the internationally disconnected nation of North Korea, embodied this pressure. During the principal year of his administration, Trump took a pugnacious stance toward North Korea's trail of long-range rockets that could arrive at focuses in the US. Tightening up global strains, Trump vowed to convey fire and fierceness in light of any atomic animosity from North Korea. In 2018, be that as it may, Trump changed his methodology. Having confidence in the force of individual connections and his arrangement-making ability, Trump tried to determine a decades-in-length deadlock between the US and North Korea through private commitment with Kim. The two chiefs met in Singapore in June 2018. The initial time heads of the two nations had at any point met. The two met 2 times more, and in 2019 Trump turned into the main sitting US president to enter North Korea when joined by Kim. He crossed the D-hostile area, DMZ, between North and South Korea. Despite this individual strategy, in any case, Kim wouldn't give up his atomic program due to his conviction that North Korea's security from addition by South Korea relied upon having atomic weapons. 4. Russia. The Trump Organization adopted a different strategy for its relationship with Russia than any organization since the virus war started after the Second Great War. Since its concise examination of popularity-based administration during the 1990s, following the separation of the Soviet Association, Russia's relationship with Western Europe and North American countries had become progressively full. President Vladimir Putin, a previous KGB knowledge official who originally took power in Russia late in 1999, had consistently set his hold on political power in the following many years. His extension of Crimea and backing for separatists in Ukraine, his restraint of difference in Russia, counting claims that he requested deaths of columnists and different adversaries, and his help for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad had segregated Russia from the world's local area. Trump, nonetheless, lauded Putin as a solid chief during the official mission. Disclosures that Russian knowledge specialists had coordinated a hack of the popularity-based public board and participated in other promulgation endeavors to assist with besting in the 2016 political decision raised doubts about Trump's relationship with the Russian chief. Trump's emphasis on keeping hidden the subtleties of his discussions with Putin just facilitated doubt. Exceptional direction Robert Mueller arraigned 6 individuals from Trump's mission and staff for different offenses connected with Russia's impedance with the 2016 political decision. Mueller additionally prosecuted 12 Russians on charges of connivance to meddle in the political race by hacking servers and messages. At a gathering with Putin in 2018, Trump declared that he acknowledged Putin's disavowal of any contribution to the U.S. political decision. After Mueller's last report distinguished clear connections between the Russian government and the Trump lobby. Trump requested the knowledge of the local area to explore the actual examination, giving his head legal officer, William Barr, the position to declassify pertinent data. Barr named government examiner John Durham as unique advice to explore. Durham went on in that office after Trump left office, and starting around 2022, he had not brought proof of bad behavior. I hope you guys liked the video, and for more stuff like this, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. See you soon, goodbye.